Welcome back, you beautiful individuals, to League Armed Lock. It's still a fresh wound if you are a TSM fan, because second year in a row they will not be going to the World Championship. But when it's fresh, it's the best time because it's most memorable in your mind, and you have to think, what do they do? What changes can TSM make for 2020? There's plenty of options or routes that they can take because, I mean, there's just so many options for them. They could change the entire thing. They could change nothing. And first thing I want to say is, for a team to, now everyone's going to say this is the lowest point in the history of Team Solo Mid's organization, which is probably true, but let's not blow this completely out of proportion. They were in an LCS final, 1 game away from going to MSI and 1 game away from going to the World Championship. So if that is the lowest point in the history of your team's organization, then you've had a pretty darn good run, because most teams' lowest point is relegations or getting 1 or 2 wins on the entire split. So TSM, you've had a good run. It's time for someone else to dominate North America. That being said, let's take a look. What could they do? What could they change? Because remember, since 2018, when they changed everything, Doublelift's gone, Svenskeren's gone, Biofrost's gone, things haven't gone quite as well. You remember the 10 finals in a row that was destroyed right in 2018 spring when all these changes happened. The regular season record, it's still pretty good, 44-28. That's not bad. They've made playoffs in all 4 splits that they've been in. The problem is that playoff record is sub 500. They've lost a clutch a couple of times. One of those was in the regional finals, obviously, which is not included in the playoffs here. But, I mean, they got eliminated in quarterfinals twice, once in semis and once in finals. And there it is, the fighting relationship, not there anymore. And you saw there the biggest number. They've had 4 junglers start for them since Svenskeren left, and all he's done is capture his first MVP award. So yes, it is very easy to say that Reggie made a terrible decision in getting rid of all these players, but you know, people would have called for their heads maybe even worse if he ran back the same roster, maybe even if he won NA again and then was terrible at Worlds. He felt like a change needed to happen. That roster had a 2-year run at Worlds, didn't get out of groups, but they did completely dominate North America in 3 of those 4 splits. So it's hard to say, but he felt like he needed to make a move. And on paper, Sven and Mithy, come on, should have been great. Obviously, things have not worked out for TSM, and there were still moments, especially here in 2019. They went on that huge run in spring, and everyone was thinking, oh my God, TSM's coming back. They're up 2-0 against Team Liquid. They had plenty of positives. I mean, in summer, there was definitely less of those positives that you were talking about, because they kind of just, it was pretty much the opposite. They looked okay at the start of the split and then went on a pretty sizable slump to close things out. Even in playoffs, we knew this loss to Clutch in the quarterfinals was not really an upset, because Clutch were favorites coming into that one, and absolutely deservedly so. They looked much better and were riding that full momentum wave all the way to the 3rd seed at Worlds, which I'm still very excited about for them to represent North America. But for TSM, there's a few options, and I'm sure they're already looking at them here ahead of 2020. One of the first ones is you try and run it back with this roster again, save for the jungle spot, because you completely screwed that one up. There's no way you can keep any of these junglers on the roster. Luckily for TSM, Dardoch announced his free agency, that he's available to look and explore opportunities. He's been stuck in the Academy League for 99% of his time on Optic, and Meteos, to his credit, has actually played super well as a starter for them, so I'm not upset about that. But Dardoch is still more than capable and more than serviceable as a starting jungler. This was something, TSM Dardoch was something we talked about coming into 2019 before he signed with Optic. Him being on an organization like TSM where everybody else, you know, Bjergsen and Sven, they desperately want to win. So does Smoothie. You've seen his reactions, and so does Broken Blade. So I think Dardoch could actually fit pretty well in this roster. The question is, are you confident in Bjergsen, in this roster, Bjergsen, Sven, and Broken Blade being the carries that you want to take this team to the next level, to win an LCS title, to get back to the LCS finals where you've been so many times before. But I mean, the playstyle of Dardoch, I mean, how many times do we say it? This aggressive jungler comes into TSM and then he doesn't play at all like you were expecting him to. He doesn't play to his potential and why you brought him over. And that's definitely something going on with TSM as an organization. So I would worry for Dardoch in that regard. But we know him and Bjergsen are pretty close. They've talked to each other on and off the Rift quite a bit. We've seen them duo queue before. So I think if you are confident in this core of TSM, and listen, Broken Blade for a rookie year had an incredible split. I wouldn't have any issues with keeping him. Sven and Smoothie had their moments where they looked like a dominant team, bot lane in North America. And listen, Bjergsen's contract is up. If TSM wants to throw any amount of money at him to keep him, then by all means they should. And you just bring in Dardoch and maybe run it back again and say, you know what, we got close. I think we can get there with this squad. Maybe that's one approach TSM makes. I don't think that one's going to work for them. I think option number 2, you blow everything up. You're starting with the coaching staff. Reggie, you got to be fully hands-off aside from maybe picking a coach. Don't be popping in whenever the team struggles. We got to start at the very top of the organization with huge changes throughout. And then you talk about the roster. I think everybody's gone. Start fresh, start anew, bring in young talent, bring TSM Johnson from the Academy League right as soon as he turns 17 and is eligible to play in the LCS. Bring him in, go with the youth movement. You're not going to win an LCS title here, maybe all of 2020, but you didn't in 2019 or 18 anyways. Just see what talent you have within your organization and start the new era of Team Solo Mid. And that also means Bjergsen and Sven are leaving. But where are they going? Sven probably going back to EU. I don't know if he fits in anywhere in North America. And Bjergsen, it's not even a rumor. It's just what fans want. It's over to 100 Thieves with Papa Smithy and Amazing. And I'm going to tell you why this move makes sense for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the Amazing and Bjergsen relationship is there. They both enjoyed playing with each other. Amazing has said that he holds that TSM roster very near and dear to his heart. And bringing in another veteran to this squad, another voice, because we've seen how quiet a lot of these guys are. It's been more vocal, obviously, with Amazing coming, but Amazing and Bjergsen and Afro as your leadership core is incredible with the experience of Bang. And the key here is you can get someday back on the starting LCS roster because Bjergsen does not take up an import slot. That is priority number 1 for 100 Thieves. It's a no-brainer that it makes sense for them to bring Bjergsen over because import slot and the greatest mid laner in the history of North America. That's a pretty easy choice. Nade shot, throw as much money as you have left from Papa Smithy. You know he's reaching out to him and at the very least trying. And I think Bjergsen needs a change of scenery. 100 Thieves could be that greener pasture for him. Otherwise, other NA teams, I mean, the top squads, do they even need or want Bjergsen right now? Is he going to play on FlyQuest or something? I don't think so. Is he going back to EU? Where does he fit on EU? Fnatic? No, I think they're happy with Nemesis. The only EU squad I could maybe see is Shulka replacing Abadaga and then going with Upset. That could be very interesting, but do they want that? Origin, is he better than Nukeduck? Is he a huge upgrade over Nukeduck? If TSM does not re-sign Bjergsen, he's going to 100 Thieves. That's what I feel, but again, it's not even a rumor yet at this point. Either way, TSM, you need sweeping changes for 2020.